The Lorax by Dr Seuss.
This is not a bouncy bed.
It's not a bouncy bed. You're absolutely right. The Lorax. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows,
No.
and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows,
It's where the lifted Lorax lives.
and no birds ever sing except
old
crow
girls.
crows,
It's where the lifted Lorax.
is the street of the lifted Lorax.
Deep in the grass, where the grickle grass grows.
Who's reading this book? Come to sit next to me and let me read to you, please. All right, there we go. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there, and why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives. Here, ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door.
That's why it's called the Onceler.
He stays in his lurkin
Don't.
on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes.
Out of Miss Mufford Moof.
And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks
Out
out
of
of
his
his shutters.
And
Sometimes he speaks.
and sometimes
tell you
he
perhaps
And tells how the Lorax was lifted away.
he'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay.
If you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of the great-great-great-grandfather snail. And then he pulls up the pail and makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount.
For the Onceler.
Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snoove, his secret strange hole in his groovyless glove.
I want to say
Then he grunts.
I will call you by whisper-phone, for the secrets I tell you are ears.
For your ears alone. Yeah?
Slup.
Down slops the whisper-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds
Closet.
as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now, I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away.
It started way back, such a long, long time back.
Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami songs rang out in space, one morning I
Also
came
when they do the
to
Lorax's
this glorious place, and I first saw the trees and the truffula trees, the bright-colored troughs of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade of the truffula fruits.
And they truffle.
From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these, the touch of their tufts so much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart.
I'm doing the Lorax as well.
In no time at all, I had built a small shop, and then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took all of the soft tuff and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump. Of the tree I chopped down, it was sort of a man. Describe him, and that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish,
And oldish.
and oldish, and brownish,
And mossy.
and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy.
Mister,
He said with a sawdusty sneeze.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs,
He was very upset and he shouted and puffed.
what's that thing you've made out of my truffle attempt?
Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped down just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that old people need. It's a shirt. It's a sock. It's a glove. It's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said,
Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed.
But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that thneed that I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You can never can tell what some people will buy.
I repeat,
Cried the Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, there's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn a left at Weehawken. Sharp right at South Snitch.
Stitch.
And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffle trees. Then, oh baby, oh how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which hacked off 4 truffle trees at one smacker. They were making the thneeds for us times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped.
I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, but you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffle fruit. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope they may. Good luck, boys.
He cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and businesses must grow, regardless of crummies in tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got. I biggered my factory and biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs.
Everyone does need money.
Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes.
I am the Lorax.
He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled and he gargled, he sniffed.
Onceler.
He cried with a crufulous croak.
Onceler, you're making such smoggless smoke. My poor swami swans. Why they can't sing a note? No one can sing who has smog in their throat. And so,
said the Lorax.
please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you smog around here.
Smogging up the smog. What's more?
What's more?
Snapped the Lorax. His dander was up.
Let me say a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop. Then he can glubbity-glub. Also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old once-around you. You're glumping the ponds where the hummingfish hummed. No more can they hum, for the gills are all gummed. I'm setting them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary.
And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yappity yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees. No more thneeds. No more work to be done. So, in no time, my uncles, my aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and they drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself up by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He let something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seeds. And the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end.
Whoops, I pressed a button.